It's very good.
Oh, very funny man.
I like the way that he can answer any question.
He's a great comedian.
You just can't beat him for sheer professionalism, for the speed of his brain.
Makes me laugh.
The blue, the better. He's very sexy.
Very witty. He's the best comedian in the country.
He's a very good after-dinner speaker. So we've had our dinner and we're waiting for him to speak.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, exposing himself for your entertainment, Bob Monkhouse.
Great crowd, what a great welcome. Thank you for that. Boy, the place is heaving, isn't it? I blame the scampi myself. What a great joy to be here. Don't the ladies look sensational? You look wonderful. Greatly attracted to women. I think I'm a lesbian trapped in a man's body, you know. So great to see you. I don't know why I go on about like that, because I've never been that lucky with the ladies. Once I got lucky. I met a feminist prostitute who insisted on paying half. That was good. We're making a video here tonight, my friends. You know, I had a look at one or two comedy videos, and I decided I wanted to do the opposite of what I saw. I didn't want to do anything coarse, anything crude, anything that might offend. Because I'm a church boy. I was brought up to go to church. The other Sunday, I found myself in Chelsea, and I automatically went into the local church. I had no idea it was a gay congregation. I never realized it until I noticed only half the worshippers were kneeling, and then... So we're keeping it clean tonight, aren't we, Laurie? We're keeping it wholesome, we're keeping it pure. That's the way we're gonna work it. Ah, there is no mystery here, my friends, because we're making history here, my friends. The comedy's gonna come out white, because we're keeping it clean tonight. Now, Jim Davidson is rude, it's true. Roy Chubby isn't brown, he's blue. But Bobby here is putting up a fight and keeping it clean tonight. There'll be no curse words, or even worse words. We will put our trust in wit. Now you sit there drinking, I know what you're thinking, but I don't really give a toss about rhyme. This will be a spotless show, though it's for the video. They might show it on a Virgin flight, so we're keeping it clean tonight. Hey, you think I'm kidding you with this stuff? You think I'm handing you a line of guff? Well, the party's gonna stay for life. Sorry about that. Difference between our drummer and a chiropodist is a chiropodist bucks up the feet while he... Oh, sorry, I forgot. We're keeping it clean tonight. Now, you don't have to be blue to be funny, and I wouldn't lower myself for this money. So curb your vulgar appetite. Pull yourself together, Laurie, please. Control yourself. I know you're tired, but for God's sake, he is tired. He shouldn't be here. He had a wet dream on St. Swithin's Day. He's exhausted. Exhausted. The man is exhausted. I'm sorry. I did it again. To keep it clean tonight, there'll be no swearing. You can stop glaring, because I'm telling you the truth up front. And isn't it stunning that the tape is running, and don't you love a cunning stunt? Purity can still be great. You can show this thing to your Auntie Kate. Hey, I was wicked, but I saw the light. Yes, I saw the light go out on my friend's sperm bank in London. It was a disaster. The first week, only 3 volunteers phoned in. 2 of them missed the tube, and the other one came on the bus. Oh, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. After all, I forgot. We're keeping it clean. Yeah, you know what I mean. We're keeping it clean tonight, tonight, tonight. Yeah! Thank you. Wholesome time. Thank you, Laurie. Oh, it's so good to be with you. I tell you, I love... This place is wonderful, and it's by a beautiful village, which I live in a beautiful village. I live in a little village in Bedfordshire. Small village, very old-fashioned. We don't go in for anything newfangled like these porno videos, you know. Once a week, someone just volunteers to leave his curtains open. Very old-fashioned. When I moved into the area, I think we're the first new people in this village for 100 years, maybe centuries. Very, very closed community. The farmer from next door came round. He said, "I'd like you to meet my wife and sister." And there was just the one woman standing there. But like everywhere, you get crime, don't you? We had a burglar. What was it, last November? We had a burglar. What a sod. Didn't steal the video, didn't steal the television set, stole the remote control. And then drove by every evening for 3 months, changing channels. I love coming here. I drove here, I came through, is anyone from Reading here? I came through the Royal Borough of Reading. Oh, it's something about Berkshire people. They've got a great sense of humor. I didn't know whether I could get anything to eat here, so I thought I'll buy a loaf of bread. I'll be able to make myself a sandwich. So I went to a little corner shop in Reading, typical Berkshire character behind the counter. I said, "I'd like to buy some bread." He said, "We're not having any bloody bread." We're not being a bloody bakery here. We're being a bloody convenience store here. All we are having left is muffins. I said, "What's the difference?" He says, "There's 2 F's in muffin, there's no F in bread, get out." I didn't hang about, because I've only just got back to the country. I flew back from a very quick 6-week tour overseas. I've been feeling fruity, you know, even at my age. You feel, you know, after 6 weeks of celibacy, my God, I phoned my wife from Heathrow, and I said, "I'm thinking about the last time we made love, and I'm getting all excited." And she said, "Ooh." She did. She said, "Ooh, who is this?" And I said, "That's great, now welcome home." Because you know, Laurie, you know where I've been out in the Middle East, because we still have a military presence in Saudi Arabia, keeping an eye on Saddam and all that, you know. We have about 1,200 military out there. All boys and girls in various shades of khaki, blue. We did 2 shows for them, 600 in each audience. It's funny, you do a gag in the Middle East, the boys and girls from Britain, they laugh at the joke. But around the perimeter, they're Saudi guards. They speak perfect English, but they don't laugh at the jokes. Because the Arabs have no jokes. Now, I'm not being racist here. It's a fact. Because the Arabs are culturally different from us. They do everything the other way around from you and me. You know that they read the other way around. And they write, obviously, the other way around. They do everything the other way around. In the Middle East, you commit adultery, you get stoned. Now, you and I do that the other way around. I was out in Japan, that was fascinating. Do you ever been in Japan? I've never been there before, my first visit. And they say the Japanese language is very difficult. It's not that difficult. Certain words are easy. Like Japanese for baby's nappy is asako pupu. Now that's easy. You can't forget that. Grounds for divorce, a lakanuki. That's easy. And there is a lakanuki in Japan. They have no time for it. The work ethic in Japan's unbelievable, isn't it, Laurie? Absolutely You and I work hard when we get the chance. But they work so hard. There's never any time for any romantic dalliance. You ask any Japanese businessman, they'll tell you, as far as he's concerned, lust is just something which is attacking his Toyota. And you don't ask them how often they have elections, whereas in Red China... I was in Red China, I couldn't believe it. We were filming there, and I realized I was surrounded by 1,000 million people. That's how many they reckon there are. In Red China, 1,000 million. You can't even imagine that, can you? That's because they're, unlike the Japanese, they never stop. Ooh, ooh, ooh. They're at it like knives. Oh, yes, because there's only 3 things to do in Red China. You read a wall poster or pick some rice or ooh, ooh, ooh. Which would you do? Of course you do. Ooh, ooh. So they're at it, and there's 1,000 million of them. And they have no birth control. Well, not as you and I understand it. They don't have the pill. They can't afford it. It's a very primitive, very poor society. Can't even afford the coil. That little intrauterine device. I don't know, you girls, you women are so brave. You have these gadgets inserted. My wife was fitted with a coil for about 18 months. I hated it. Used to pick up CB signals. Oh, no, that's awful. You're in the middle of making love, you break up. Rubber.come back. What? The only way they can control the population in China is by legislation. They have a law. A Chinese father and husband is allowed to have 2 children, that's it. If he has more than 2 children, they stop him. I don't want to upset you or say anything that would be dismaying to you. I'll show you how I'll give you a hint how they stop him having any more children. Ooh. That's it. An Oriental Frankie Vaughan and the family jewels, he's out of the running. That's the original Chinese takeaway I'm showing you. And that's evolution for you. That's why, over centuries, Chinese fellas have developed sort of squinty eyes and prominent teeth. Comes from hundreds of years of going, I'm not knocking the Chinese, I have greatest respect. Ancient civilization, they had civilization 4,000 years before we did. Incredible, isn't it? Who else but the Chinese could have discovered that prawns had balls that size? Isn't that fascinating? I knew you'd have noticed. You go to a Chinese restaurant and the prawns themselves are only about this big. But the prawn balls are this big. No wonder their eyes are out on bloody stalks, eh? Oh, it doesn't bear thinking about. I like flying. I do. I like traveling. My wife doesn't like it. I like it. I object to some of the silly things they say on planes. Like they say, in the event of an emergency, put your head between your legs. My God, if I could do that, I'd never leave the house. They won't let me tell these jokes on television, you know. I can't stand the thought of all these little children watching, turning around to their parents and explaining these jokes. I love doing game shows. I've had a lot of fun doing game shows. When I got to the London airport, there was a reporter there. He said, "Come on, Bob, I need something for an article. How many game shows have you done?" We didn't go further back than the dawn of prehistory, my friends. We went back to the middle 60s. I'll test your memory now. Okay, Sunday afternoons, 1965-ish, live, Up a Bit Stop. Yes! Thank you. Thank you for remembering the golden shot. Thank you for pronouncing it shot. I appreciate that. The golden shot, my heavens. You're older than you look, fancy remembering that. That goes back a bit. The old golden shot. Do you remember little Ann Aston? She did the scoring on it. Couldn't do it. Couldn't keep score. Couldn't do mental arithmetic. She was the scorer. Made no sense. Couldn't add up. Couldn't subtract. Had to take a sweater off to count to 2. She was used to it. But she was lovely. She had the dressing room next to mine. There was a little crack in the wall. Oh, I let her look. What's it to me? Share the wealth, I say. Anyway, we did that for the best part of 10 years. Then I went on to do a show called Celebrity Squares. The original run started in the mid-70s. Celebrity Squares, what was it? What a load of nonsense. Just a giant game of noughts and crosses, or as the Irish call it, circles and signatures. Good luck, good luck. Sorry, that's racist. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I said we're keeping it clean tonight. That is definitely a racist joke. I don't do those jokes. You get a fifth-rate comedian might come out on the stage tonight, ladies and gentlemen, do jokes about the Irish being hard of thinking. If you have Irish antecedents, please relax. I won't be doing any jokes of that kind. I'm ashamed of what these people do. I'm ashamed to be a fellow comedian to these men who will come out and say crude things like, what do you do? How do you get a one-armed Irishman out of a tree? You wave to him. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't demean myself doing a joke like that. Good heavens. I go hot at the thought, and they say wicked things. You know, what do you do if an Irishman throws a pin at you? You run like hell, he's got a grenade in his mouth. You'll never hear that from me, I promise you that. Make you that promise. So, we had a lot of fun on the old Celebrity Squares. I did that for about 4 years. Then I did a game called Family Fortunes. Mac Bygraves eventually took over from me, Les Dennis from him. But I did it for 4 years, Family Fortunes, and I love doing that game. Now, the game is great, Family Fortunes. If you've ever seen it, I'm sure you've enjoyed it. The problem with the game is this. You've got to find families with 5 intelligent people. Now, how many families do you know? There's no such thing. You don't get 5 intelligent members to a family. You're lucky if you get 1, and that's probably you. Did you feel my tongue against your buttock at that moment? Yes, my brown eyes match my nose. Now, you probably, the top you'll get is 4 intelligent members in one family. That's the most you're going to get. You get a smart mom, a clever dad, a daughter who's quite bright, a son who can vaguely remember his own address, and that's it. So they try and think, who the hell else can we take? What other member of the family can we take along to make up the 5? And for some reason, they always used to bring along, I always felt his name was Uncle Ernie. It always seemed to be Uncle Ernie. And they didn't want to bring him, but they had to. So they'd stick him down the end of the line, hoping I'd never get there. And of course, I'd get there. And the other 4 would stiffen up with nerves. Hello, Uncle Ernie. We asked 100 people, name the capital of France. F. Good answer. Let's see if it's up there. From Family Fortune, Golden Shot, Celebrity Squares, Family Fortune. Then I went back to the BBC to do a show based on bingo called Bob's Full House, and a show called Bob Says, Opportunity Knocks. Oh, nice of you to shout. And you know, Opportunity Knocks was a lovely show to do. Do you know, I attended over 3 years of doing that show, presenting Opportunity Knocks. I attended over 7,000 auditions, and when you sit there from 8 o'clock in the morning till 7 at night, watching audition after audition, each one taking about 5 minutes, when somebody gets up with a little bit of talent, a scintilla of ability, your heart lifts, your spirits soar. You sit through some of the other crap, it knackers you. You think we put lousy acts on TV, you should have seen what we turned out. We had one old man, he came back to the London auditions, what, 6 times? 7 times, I think this old bugger came back 7 times. And he sang the same garbage every time. And who told him? No one would tell him. No one would tell him. I had to tell him. I was the one. I had to be cruel to be kind. I said, Des. Why that Des Lynam thinks he can sing, I do not know. From there, after doing Bob's Full House for about 6 years, I went back to Central Television to do the $64,000 question, and Bob's your uncle. Ladies and gentlemen, look at me with some respect. You're looking at a man who's got away with more unadulterated shit on British television than anyone else alive. Thank you. A little laugh would have been enough for that. Now, I'm pulling your leg, of course. I've loved doing all those shows, and I know it's given a lot of pleasure to a lot of people. I'm glad of that, but sometimes I wonder how I got started. Maybe I've been giving away prizes for too long. I'm walking around. This part of the world, people are very bright. They spot you right away. I'm walking down the street, and they don't go, there's old Bob, eat those junks. No. They go, that's monk ass. That is bleeding monk ass. He's got prizes. I'll keep him talking, you look for his van. I wasn't wearing my wristwatch this morning. I asked a fellow the time, he got it right, he expected a bloody food mixer. It's a damn good job I had one on me, there could have been a row. So to come here, and be with you, and be with you, and be with Laurie Holloway and his marvellous orchestra here. What a joy to be with musicians again. I heard you play earlier tonight. Do you know, it put me in mind of Glenn Miller? Because I wished you'd get on a plane and bloody vanish. It's a joke. On drums, we have the incredible Harold. Harold, we're very proud of. This boy has such a sense of rhythm, they're making him an honorary Catholic. That's unusual, you know. Did I offend anybody? Oh, I do hope so. No, I didn't really know whether there were any Catholics in the audience, any left-footers here. I have the greatest respect, may I tell you, because tonight, just before I came out here, I was watching the TV, and get it right, Bob, His Holiness the Pope. I'm always afraid I'm going to say His Popiness the Whole. Wouldn't that be awful? Wouldn't that be rude? Wouldn't that be disrespectful? Or he's hoping it's the Pole. That wouldn't be so bad because he is a Pole. People say, why is there a Polish Pope? Why isn't there an Irish Pope? Because Southern Ireland is a Catholic country. Excuse me, people have forgotten, there was an Irish Pope. He only ever did one miracle. He made a blind man lame. So he got rid of him. Oh. Wasted bloody time. On your bike, Your Holiness. He was marvellous tonight. His Holiness, he was wearing a lovely white gown, gold, off the shoulder. Turned me on, to tell you the truth. I've been very lonely, 6 weeks since I saw the wife. And, you know, he looked very attractive, and he came down the steps from the plane, like he does always, you know, when he's in a new country. He was in somewhere beginning with Z in Africa, and he'd never been there. And he came down, and he prostrated himself on the tarmac, and he kissed the tarmac. I'm sorry. I promised myself I wouldn't let this happen. It's just when he kisses the tarmac, I feel... How lonely can a man be? I mean, for Christ's sake. I've been lonely. I've been bloody desperate. I draw the line at tarmac, I'll tell you that. I mean... I suppose if it was warm and lumpy, it'd be better than nothing. And he spake verily. He spake the papal dogma. You know what he always says? If you're hoping for any kind of a change on the policy, forget it. Thou shalt not take the pill. This is what the Pope says. Thou shalt not take the pill. Yeah, I say, if you don't play the game, mate, don't make the rules. Be fair. Well, you are fair. What a fair group. And that's my dear friend Laurie Holloway, who has played for every major star living on and dead, many of them dead, but most of them living. Cleo Lane, and great Sarah Vaughan, Frank Sinatra, and all the great ones. Now you're here with me. The peak of your endeavor. You're off again tomorrow? Yeah. He flies all over the world, Laurie. Someone said to me today about you, I didn't know this, Laurie Holloway's always jetting off an aircraft. What is that, nerves? Is that? Do something about that. It's horrible, Laurie. Get medical help or something, Laurie. Carry a thermos, an empty thermos. And of course, you told me that joke, and I've never forgotten it. Laurie told me a joke. He said, this joke never misses, Bob. Absolutely never misses. And of course, he's right. Musicians are always right about these things. And it's a lovely story, because I don't say anything rude in this story. Nothing really rude. And we're keeping it clean tonight for the video. For example, I don't mention the male member by its Latin name. I say thingy in this story. I say thingy. Isn't that sweet? I mean, that melts your heart, doesn't it? How adorable. And I don't speak of sexual activity as anything more than hanky-panky. Hanky-panky. See, get all clean for the children. It's a story about Mrs. Noah. This is a marvelous story. You'll love this story. Always goes very well. Mrs. Noah says to Noah, if we're going to have animals, one male, one female of every kind on this ark for a cruise of 40 days and 40 nights, what are we going to do about the non-stop hanky-panky? See? Subtle. You don't have to be coarse. And Noah said, I've got an idea. As each male creature comes on board the ark, it must hang its thingy on the wall. See? Don't need dirty language, do you? Hang its thingy on the wall. And at the end of the cruise, each male creature can get its thingy back. And that's what happened. And the male monkey said to the female monkey, I'm going to give you the night of your life tonight. And the female monkey said, how can you be so sure? And the... And the male monkey said, I've got the elephant's cloakroom ticket. You know, that joke usually goes much better than that. I think the stripper's probably a mistake. I think the joke is spoiled by the stripper, frankly. I know. I gather that. Well. If you had another one, would you know what to do with that either? I don't think the interruption helped the joke. Well, what could I do? When you're married to a woman who just hates your being the center of attention, she will interrupt at the most irritating times. She's 62, you know. That's a rubber body stocking you just saw. She moves well. That's the caffeine. She's had 14 cups of coffee before she came on. The whole head's false. The tits were flown in from Germany this morning. See, the joke was, sir, that all the male animals had hung their thingies on the wall. And the monkey said to the female monkey, I'm going to give you... No, I don't mind. After all, ladies and gentlemen, life is tough enough. We all have to get up every day. We have to read the news, look at the newspapers. I've taken a speed reading course, by the way. I'm out of the lavatory in half the time now. And when I take the paper, sometimes when I can't get a newspaper, I get this. This particular edition is today's copy of the Sun newspaper, ladies and gentlemen. It's a collector's edition. Look at this, page 3. The usual topless model, my wife's elder sister. And here, in the top right-hand corner, a little picture of Norman Lamont. Good God, 3 of them on the same page. Hard to believe. The news item is on page 5 today. Lovely headline, I wish I could show it to you. 400 Yorkshire miners mount boycott. He will never play cricket again. That's him finished. If there were an election tomorrow, who would win? Well, this is a phone-in by Sun readers. Wait a minute. I'll read you exactly what it says. Labour, of course, is on the left. They are also called socialists. Conservatives, bracket, or Tories, bracket, are on the right. See, Sun readers have to have this explained to them on a daily basis. It's funny, though, it's psychological. Do you know, when Labour was in power, how good's your memory? 15 years ago, when Labour was in power, I did have a stiff left leg. That's psychological, isn't it? Stiff left leg. And ever since the Tories have been in power, I'd have a stiff right leg. I've had a stiff right leg. And my wife says, please God, the Liberal Democrats, get in. Before Paddy Ashdown gets too old now. He's in here, Paddy Pants Down, they call him as usual. God, aren't they tired of that joke? Paddy Ashdown says, we are the third party. Christ, the other two must be fire and theft. Missing Di picture. Do you know about this? You know Princess Di was photographed topless in Spain on top of a hotel somewhere. And she was supposed to be topless. And there were 24 pictures on the roll, apparently. And this guy in Spain who runs Hello magazine bought them, but he only got 23, so there's a missing one. It's worth $1 million on its own. How can any of those pictures, excuse me, be worth £1 million? That's ridiculous. Pictures taken of Princess Di, a lovely woman, admittedly, topless, big deal. And they're taken, what, from 1,000 feet away through a telephoto lens by a cameraman who couldn't possibly have been holding the camera steady with one hand? Don't pretend you didn't understand that joke, sir. Every man in the place remembers discovering that wonderful day when he discovered at the age of about 13 and a half or 14 that his soldiers weren't his favorite toy after all. I remember I was about 14 and I thought I'd locked the bedroom door. And my father came in. I hadn't locked it. He caught me. He said, "You'll go blind." I said, "Dad, I'm over here." What have we got on page? Female priests. There's more rows about female priests being ordained. Well, they go on about that. There's another group of 30 priests, 30 clergymen, I should say, actually, just as 30 clergy, who are objecting to the ordaining of female priests. They say that wearing a floor-length black dress and falling in love with choir boys is men's work, ladies and gentlemen. Kentastrophe. Can you see this? Typical headline in the Sun, Kentastrophe. This is about the county of Kent. Now, I know the Garden of Eden is supposed to have been ruined, it says, by the traffic to the Channel Tunnel. I am from Kent. I was born in Kent. Maybe you knew that. Maybe you sensed that, because people actually seem to sense that I come from Kent. I hear them mutter the word as I pass them in small groups. The Channel Tunnel's a miracle of engineering. It is, of course it is. They started digging from the English end, they started digging from the French end, they met in the middle to within a tolerance of 1 inch. An MFI can't make a bloody cupboard. Don't get me started on that, my God. Channel Tunnel. Can I ask you something? Would you mind, because this is a very rare group of people who've gathered here tonight for this video. Bob Monkhouse exposes himself. I want you to expose yourself for a moment. Give me your honest answer, yes or no. Right from the heart of British people, would you tell me something? Do we actually want, do we actually need a Channel Tunnel? No! Did you hear that? Not a single yes. I didn't hear a single yes. Did I hear a yes? Who's you're saying yes? Are you saying yes? You French bastard. Vous will be very, very lucky to get out of EC tonight. I'm sorry if there's anybody actually French here tonight, but I don't like you. Well, I'm fed up. The Channel Tunnel's obviously for them. It's not for us. It's for the bloody French. It obviously is. In case the Germans declare war again, they can be in London with their hands up that much quicker. I'm not wrong, am I? Stick it to them, Bob. Tell it like it is. Oh, gum, the French. Always so bloody angry. What's the matter with the French? You know, their fishermen are angry and their farmers are angry. Why weren't they this angry in 1940 when it might have done a bit of good? I'm not prejudiced. I'm not. I used to go out. I went out with a French girl once. I used to go out with her. Well, she was half French. She was half French, half English. Weird girl, shaved under one arm. I know what you'll say, that the French were our staunch allies in the Gulf War, in Desert Storm. And they were, weren't they? Shoulder to shoulder with us, weren't they, the French? What did they send, a canoe? Was it a canoe? Crack team of French farmers to set fire to the Iraqi sheep. Newspapers not blaming the French. Cecil Parkinson. Listen to this. Lord Parkinson, he is now Lord Parkinson. Due respect, but he was Minister of Transport when the Channel Tunnel was completed. Do you remember that? I'd forgotten that. Cecil Parkinson was Minister. Why the hell would we make him Minister of Transport? Why would we put him in charge of trains? The one man who proved to everybody here he knew nothing about pulling out on time. Minister of Transport. Article on Jacko. What do you think about Jacko? Michael Jackson. Whatever you think about him, you've got to admit he's got bloody marvellous lawyers. Last night they had him adopted by Woody Allen, you know. You seen this headlines today? Cliff gives £10,000 a week to charity. That's Cliff Richard. Marvellous man, isn't he? I love him. The born-again virgin, he's marvellous. The man they said couldn't be done. He's so generous. Peter Pan, isn't he? Absolutely marvellous. This is nice, I like this. After rumours that he had a son, which he denies, Eunice Stubbs, with whom he co-starred in a film in Jersey, this is about 25 years ago, says, yes, she did have Nookie with Cliff. Oh, isn't that good? Aren't you pleased? Oh, I was so afraid he'd never had any. And I was so afraid when Cliff, may he never die, but when he dies, you don't want him to be returned unopened, do you? And he had some Nookie, and she says, just a second, I'll find it. He never lost his Christian principles, even in bed. What does that mean? Huh? What does that mean? What did he do? Give the Sermon on the Mount? I don't know what it means. Lorena Bobbitt, coming to, she's visiting Britain. Snip Snip Girl comes to Britain. Snip Snip Girl. This is the girl. This is the lady whose husband made unnatural demands upon her. So while he was dozing off, she took the scissors and... Remember this? I didn't think that was so bad, but she chucked it out the window. That's I mean, that's littering, isn't it? Anyway, you go, that's littering. I mean, that's against the law. I mean, have a good time, but pick up after yourself, for goodness sake. Throwing a penis out the window. Anybody could come along and tread on that. Well, twist your ankle on that, you could. And what would you say when people said, how did you come to twist your ankle? What did you say? Well, trod on a penis. Your own? I wish. Madonna's in the paper again. Madonna. I'll read you what it says. Madonna's had a touching reunion. Her knees are together for the first time in 10 years. Oh, this is about Prince Edward, the baby potato. He is all man, macho Edward. Just a second. This is his girlfriend, the lady friend. I beg your pardon, the lady friend. And she says, oh, wait, let me find the piece. Oh, here it is. He is macho. Ever since he was a teenager, Edward has wanted to be in the Hussars. Yeah, I see. Doesn't say Hussars he wanted to be in, he just... I tell you, it's so good to be here with you tonight. I don't know, it's funny, I can't believe I've turned into a pensioner. I mean, I feel like a young man. I don't know where I get one this time of night. But... It's funny, though, you know. I know I'm old, but given certain conditions, under certain conditions, I could still have sex with a woman like she'd never had sex before in her life. That's one of the conditions, that she'd never had sex before in her life. But I didn't start out early, you see. I was a slow developer. My mother never wanted to have me. My mother never wanted me. When I was born, she was 39 months pregnant when I was born. Putting it off. When I was a baby in arms, little baby, my mother tried to kill me. I'm sorry, it sounds serious, but I'm telling you the truth. She denied it, of course. She told the police she thought the plastic bag would keep me fresh. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. I'm sure. I grew up, I didn't feel wanted. My father couldn't do much. My father... I don't want to talk about my father, if you don't mind. I'd rather not discuss it, if you don't mind. Well, it's private. Excuse me. No, it's private matter. He was a very unlucky man, my father. Oh, all right, then. He was unlucky. He was an incontinent trapeze artist, my father. That is unlucky. Don't you think that's unlucky? His audiences weren't all that lucky when you think about it. So I grew up knowing nothing about you wonderful women. I was a teenager. I wasn't very good looking as a teenager. I couldn't get girls my own age to go out with me. I had to settle for going out with an older woman. I never found out how old she was. But one day when I told her actor age, she died. I knew nothing about women in those days. I went into the RAF. I was called up in the RAF. I met my first wife, and I was a virgin. I swear to God, I knew nothing. I'd never been touched. She, on the other hand, had been around. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. She told me I was 1 in a million. I found out later she was telling the bloody truth. And I'm afraid I was unfaithful. I'm ashamed of myself, but I was a young man. I was discovering life. I had a relationship with a woman in my car. We were alone in my car for about an hour and a half and having a good time. And then I was overcome with fear that my wife would find out. So I cleaned that car as no car has ever been cleaned. The interior of that car was spotless, spotless. There wasn't a trace of powder, hairpin, nothing. 3 days later, I'm driving with my wife in the same car. There's a sudden downpour of rain. The windows mist up on the inside. Footprint here. You see, I find it's very strange because young people can't understand it when old people have sex. It's very difficult for young people to understand, but we do. We do, but it's hard to imagine. I mean, you can't imagine your parents ever doing it, can you? But they must have done, or you wouldn't be here, would you? You can't imagine. Well, maybe him, but not with her. Of course, it's not so urgent. A man, when he reaches mature age, is not driven like a maniac. But you guys, young guys, at the age of 18, for example, your sperm count was 500,000. Did you know that? At the age of 18, you're at your sexual peak, and your sperm count is 500,000. I had a sperm count 7 weeks ago. The doctor told me I was down to 3. And 2 of those have got arthritis. And I do my best. I try to stay lively. A man must. You know, sex is not a spectator sport. It's a contact sport. You've got to stay lively. If I have any message for men here, it's don't worry about age. My God, it doesn't matter. You can still, if you try. I like to stay modern. I like to have a mirror in the bedroom. When I make love to my wife, I have a mirror in the bedroom. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Stick it under her nose, see if she's still breathing. Because my wife's not as keen on it as I am. I'm being very honest with you. She's about 10 years younger than me. She feels old age creeping up on her whenever I can manage it. She's not as keen. But I stay very, very lively. You've got to keep the stamina going. Do you know, I made love to my wife. Forgive me being so personal with you, but I'm telling you the truth now. I made love to my wife. It was a Saturday night, March the 28th, I think. It's in the diary. I mean, considering the age I am, listen to this. I made love to my wife for 1 hour and 3 minutes. I'm not kidding you. I'm not talking about wimpy hand-holding. I'm talking about passionate, ardent lovemaking. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the real thing. For 63 minutes. It's absolutely incredible. It's not a joke. I just had to tell somebody. Thank you. Well, thank you. Thank you for your applause. For those of you who didn't applaud, all right, it was the night we put the clocks forward, but... That's not the point. That's academic. See, my wife, she smokes. Now, I know a lot of you ladies like a cigarette, and maybe your favorite cigarette is the one you have after an interlude of romantic dalliance, but my wife doesn't smoke after. During. She smokes... She smokes during. I'm not kidding you. She smokes before, during, and after. Frequently the same cigarette, I'm sorry to say. But you shouldn't do that to a man. A man is all ego. He can't stand that kind of thing. You know, I'm trying to make love to the woman, trying to be entertaining, and in my face. It's bad enough she's wearing the Walkman headset, for God's sake. Learning Spanish in her spare time, thank you very much. Oh, I've got used to it. I can put up with the smoke and the ash. What's killing me, it's balancing that cold ashtray on my ass. I'll tell you. When she misses with that hot ash, she does that deliberately, you know that? Got blue tack marks all over the back of the spine. I do my best, try to be Casanova. I'll be making love tonight when I get home. First time in 6 weeks I've been home. You know what she'll be doing apart from smoking? Watching television. It's true, she watches television. I'm making love to the woman, she's watching television. Over my shoulder, she's not peeping. She's looking, watching television. And changing channels. That's what annoys me, she changes channels. Yeah, changes bloody channels. And as you know, we no longer have a remote control. I'm a senior citizen. I'm too old to be carried around the room like that. You've seen what a powerful woman she is, my God. When she did the splits there, I bet you were impressed, weren't you? I think of getting a vasectomy. I am. I'm going to get a vasectomy. Well, it doesn't seem fair somehow, using live ammunition on a dead target. I do my best, ladies, I swear to God. I do my utmost. Before I went away 6 weeks ago, I tried to keep my wife happy. I really did, because I don't want anyone stealing her. She's very precious to me. And I took her to an Ann Summers. Do you know these shops? You ever heard of these shops? If you know about them, you know about them. If you don't know about them, let me explain. They're sex shops. They don't sell sex. They're completely blank shop fronts. You can't see anything in the window. They can't put anything in the window because they sell martial aids. This is for people who are... Don't laugh at it. Don't mock if you don't understand. These are wonderful things. Lonely men can go in there. They can buy things that comfort them. You know, crime would take place. If it would, they're little comforting things you can buy in these shops like Lovable Lulu. Do you know about Lovable Lulu? This is a flat-pack vinyl woman, a polyvinyl woman, flat-pack polyvinyl woman. And it says on the box, and they should get them, under the Trade Descriptions Act, they should have them. Because it says on the box, just like a real woman. How many real women do you know sleep like this? One, okay, 2, 3, 5, okay. Okay, 11, okay. That's not the point I'm making. Sleeping with balloons, for shame. The man takes this thing back to, I don't know, some privacy, some hidey hole, some hotel room probably, and he inflates it, apparently, I understand. He uses, I imagine, a bicycle pump, I should think, if he's wise. But if you try to do it with your own breath, it gives you stars in front of your eyes, you can't do anything for an hour. God, I must have sat in the toilet for nearly 2 hours. And you can't get passionate with it. I bit mine on the neck, it farted and flew out the window. God, it had gone out the window. Bloody gone. No satisfaction in that. You buy these vibrators, have you seen these things? I'm not talking about shoddy goods, don't be ashamed. I'm talking about beautiful artifacts. These vibrators, they say they're for your neck. Get out of here. Yeah, 35 horsepower, rope starter. Oh, you buy your wife one of these, you come home, you're an anticlimax, don't you? They're beautifully made, they're lovely. And, onyx and ivory and silver and gold. My wife said, I want the red one. I said, that's the fire extinguisher, don't even ask me. They got books there. I bought her books. She doesn't know anything about these things. I bought her Sex Without Guilt and Sex Without Fear. I was looking for a book for myself, Sex Without Partners, that's what I'm looking for. Huh? No, it's a handbook, I couldn't find it. And I'm at the airport. Laurie, I get to the airport because I'm catching a very early plane in the morning. She's phoning me at the hotel. She's read the books already. I mean, she couldn't wait. Got to do this. We've got to have, what is it? We've got to have mutual orgasm. My God, we can't even get our toast to pop up at the same time. What's a lesbian, she said. She'd never heard of it. I said, don't worry about it. Lesbians are very lucky. Neither of them has to sleep on the wet spot. Leave it at that. You can learn things from these books. You can learn things I never knew. Did you know female midgets can't use tampons because they trip on the string? Did you know? I was amazed. There's things you never think of, aren't they? I went to see the doctor before I went away 6 weeks ago. I tell you, I was nervous. I wasn't going to fool around. I knew that. No, I wasn't. Because these days you fool around, you can catch infections that kill you. You know this. I'm so nervous about this virus. I'll tell you how nervous I am. I'm wearing a condom now. I'm really scared. I went to see this doctor. I went privately. I'll give you the information for nothing. I don't like to see this man. I don't go willingly to see my doctor. He's weird. Wants me to grab him and cough. There's something wrong. He gave me a complete rectal examination. Later I thought, why were both his hands on my shoulders? Still can't figure that out. The reason I went to him was this. I was afraid that I could catch this disease of which we speak by accident. Because do you remember, in the old days, a guy would come back from overseas, maybe he'd been in the forces, the Navy, the Army, the Air Force, the Marines, and he'd caught a little infection, a little social inconvenience, an itch. And he'd say, well, I don't know how I got this. I haven't been with anyone. I must have got it off a toilet seat. Do you remember this? Getting it off a toilet seat? This was VD. Do you remember VD? My God, it seems adorable now, doesn't it? So I said to him, is it possible an innocent man such as myself could catch this terrible disease from a toilet seat? And do you know what he said? Do you know what he said? Yes. Yes. He said, if you sit down before the other fellows got up. You need eyes in the back of your head. See, because if the other fellow was still sitting there and you came along. I say to you sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, life can get tough, but then I think about some of my finest relatives, my oldest relative, my Uncle Sidney, and his courage and the way his tenacity for life. He's 92. My Uncle Sidney's been a manual worker all his life, carpenter, and now he's 92. He stains floors. He doesn't mean to. But my Auntie Rose said, whenever you're in the area, pop in and see your Uncle Sidney, because he could go at any time. And he does, you see. I bought him this little gadget. This little gadget vibrates and goes bing every 4 hours. It reminds him to go to the toilet so he won't have a little embarrassing accident, because he's a wonderful old man. And of course, in the middle of the night, I worry about that. So I said to Uncle Sidney, and this is the reason I'm telling you the story, because what he said was beautiful. I said, Uncle Sidney, is it all right for you when you have to get up in the middle of the night to go to the toilet? And he said, God comes with me in the night. Isn't it beautiful when old people have faith like that? And I said, I'm sure God does come with you in the night, Uncle Sidney. And he said, I know he does because he switches the light on for me. And I thought, He says, I have a Jimmy Riddle. God switches the light off. I go back to bed. I got my Auntie Rose on one side. I said, is Uncle all right? He thinks when he gets up in the middle of the night to have a pee, God switches the light on and off for him. She said, oh, Christ, he's doing it in the fridge again. So I didn't bother with the boiled ham. You look so good from up there on the stage. I thought you wouldn't mind if I came down and had a slightly closer look. Thank you. Hello. What's your first name?
Veronica.
Veronica. I'll call you Vera. Leave the knickers off. love your hair. It's so bouncy, it's so beautiful. May I touch it? It's okay? God, that brings back memories. Do you know? What is wrong with you people? Pull yourselves together. May I say hello? Wouldn't worry. What's your first name?
Sally.
Sally. Do you know what Sally means? It means purity. The fellow with you looks astounded. It bloody does. If it doesn't, it's your fault. Did you understand any of my jokes tonight, Sally?
Yes, thank you.
Shame on you, Sally. I have a Gideon Bible backstage. I shall take you there after the show. I shall ram the fear of God into you tonight, my child. Chance would be a fine thing, he says. Of course, the monkey thought if the elephant's thingy. Oh, you finally begin to sink in. How do you, sir? Lagged your face for the winter and forgot to take it off. You mind if I feel it? You sure you don't mind? Because there's no paper in the toilet backstage. I'm only kidding, sir. Hello. You look very beautiful. What's your first name?
Maureen. Maureen.
Morden. Marlene. I got it. Marlene.
Maureen.
Mardine.
Maureen.
Maureen. Maureen. I finally got it. Maureen. I always wanted to join the Marines. Now I wish I had. Does he call you Moore for short or not that often these days? This is your handbag? Oh, could you turn off your vibrator, please, for me? May I say hello? What's your first name?
Catherine.
Catherine, do you know the meaning of the name?
No.
God's child. Literally, God's child. Did you understand any of these naughty jokes?
Some of them.
Shame on you, child. Get me to a nunnery. Better still, come to an old monk house. You know, I love to meet the ladies because women are my downfall and my blessing. When a man's on tour, you know, traveling around on the road, longs for companionship, and sometimes in the wee small hours of the morning, you can find yourself in some strange night spot, just looking for a little company. I was once in Dublin, and I met a Molly Malone. There's a traditional name for you. God, he plays well for a man who's stone deaf. He thinks I'm singing right now. Do you? I was sitting at the bar in this little Irish all-night drinking club. They had a stripper in the bar, but they'd taken the label off and called it vodka. I was on my fifth. Over in the shadows, a man was tinkling on the piano, and you could see the pianist wasn't very pleased about it. He was pissed off. Well, first he was pissed on, then he was pissed off. And then I saw her, Molly Malone, seated in the shadows at the end of the bar. I felt she was looking for a good time. I don't know why I felt that. Perhaps it was the mattress strapped to her back that suggested. I moved towards her gently. That doesn't really describe it. You had to be there. I glided. I used my charm like a sledgehammer. I showed no mercy. I said, "Good evening. Do you like cocktails?" She said, "Yes, tell us one." So I told her one. She didn't laugh. She said, "What do you do for a living?" I said, "I'm a surgeon for insects. Perhaps you'd allow me to show you the inside of a fly." She said, "You're joking, surely. What do you do really for a living?" I said, "I'm a stunt driver." "Oh," she said, "I bet you're hard on tires." I said, "I bet you it doesn't." She said, "Now, if I were a cigarette holder, And you, as a cigarette, would you mind using a filter? I said, would you mind if I wasn't king size? She said, I'll lay you 10 to 1. I said, no, lay me 10 to 12. I want to get to bed by then. Now I was thinking maybe she's on the game. I said, are you going to charge me? She said, no, I'll walk slowly towards you if you're nervous. And at that moment, two coincidences occurred. The first coincidence was I'd read in the paper that very morning that you could catch the infection of which we've already spoken from saliva. And I'd forgotten that for the moment. Did you know that? I didn't know that. From saliva. And I thought, no, the whole thing's off. No kissing, nothing. And at that moment, the other coincidence occurred. She said something with peas in it. A particularly pleasant experience. And a little bit of spit flew out of her mouth and landed in my eye. I thought, what have I got to lose? So I went with her. Oh, I'm not a fool. I took precautions. I wore goggles. And that's how Molly Malone brought me alive. Alive, oh, alive, alive, oh. She brought my cockles and muscles alive, alive, oh. Too good. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I thank you from the heart of my bottom. Damn. For your God bless you for whatever that was. You're a terrific audience, and I thank you very much. To those of you who stood, that's the greatest compliment you can pay any entertainer. I thank you so much for that. I thank the ladies sitting ringside for allowing me to poke so much fun at them. Thank you, male companions, for not giving me a knuckle sandwich on the way round. You girls have a great sense of humor. You wouldn't be with these men. It's so terrific to be in your company, particularly on a night when we're making a video. It really has been a joy to share your time. You know, I particularly enjoyed your presence, sir, and the joy we've had exploring the monkey joke together. I'd like to share your very generous applause, if I may, ladies and gentlemen, with not only 6 of the finest musicians I've ever worked with anywhere, but also 6 of the nicest guys you could wish to meet in any profession. Alas, none of these 12 men could be here at the Lakeside. They're all in bed with Sid Lawrence auditioning, so instead may I draw your unwelcome attention, ladies and gentlemen, the musicians you see here. 2 on brass, 1 on synthesizer, 1 on drums, 1 on bass, 1 on piano. 3 on canvas, all 6 on probation. Ladies and gentlemen, the Laurie Holloway Sextet. You're a wonderful crowd. It's marvelous, you know, how the world changes. I was looking back at the whole of my life, and I realized the changes are very profound. In everybody's life this happens, but the curious things happen. Like when I was a young man, we went on the stage, if you used words like I've used tonight, I haven't said the F word, and I won't, because I don't do that on stage. But I do say a word like bloody. Back in the 50s, when you did that in Variety, if you said bloody, if you were earning 20 quid a week, suddenly you were earning 19, they'd find you. They find you. Now today, I can't get over the fact I'm allowed to, a little freedom, say all kinds of things, and you like it. It's marvelous. It's honest. You can say things like condom. I never knew what that word meant until about 5 years ago. Did you know what it was? I never knew what it was. A packet of 3. I called it a packet of 3. You always called it a packet of 3. It's a packet of 3. That's something for the weekend. That's the other phrase. That's something for the weekend. That's a packet of 3. Why a packet of 3? Who invented the packet of 3? Have you ever known at one single occasion, gentlemen, when you've actually needed 3? I've sometimes thought I might need 2, but not right after I'd used the first one. But now, of course, there's no more packet of 3. Those Belgian Europrat have ruled that we can't have the English packet of 3, the good old British packet of trio. That's gone now. Something for the weekend, can't be a packet of 3. You know about this? It's got to be a packet of 6, a packet of 9, or a packet of 12. Ladies, the packet of 6 is to accommodate our friends in the European common market from Greece. You know those Greek fellas, they use 1 packet a week. They say it goes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, never on the Sunday. The packet of 9, well, that, we understand from the French fellas, is what they use once a week. Oh, it's a packet of 9, once a week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, twice on Saturday, twice on Sunday. But the packet of 12. Gentlemen, sit tall and proud in your seats here tonight at the Lakeside. The packet of 12 was created for the British mail, yes. For you and me, yes, sir. For the British mail, the packet of 12. January. I'll settle for the packet of 4. Spring. So it's been great being with you, I tell you that. And we kept it clean. We kept it clean. No difficulty. Hey, there was no mystery here, my friends. We made history here, my friends. And what made it a sheer delight was keeping it clean tonight. Here's a tough phrase to get out. Let's not pick and fuss about. Oh, don't try to say that if you're tight and keeping it clean tonight. There's been no rudeness, no crudeness. It's a Monkhouse culture shock. I felt as funky as a monkey who has got an elephant's clock. And he got the thingy, and he took it, and he went out, and the female monkey said, wow, that was a good joke. Wasted my time with you, yeah. Though I maybe just a dunce, hey, I haven't said that F word once. Though when I get home I might have been keeping it clean tonight. Yeah, keeping it clean. If you know